Unraveling the Threads of Masculinity is a modern masculinity. It's about, I think, the journey a lot of men have been going through their lives. When we started thinking of the idea, I had the idea of the show, we wanted to kind of encompass this thing that we've been talking about, masculinity, what it is. And I felt it's so broad, it would be foolish to not embark on this if we don't have a big array of people, a big sample of men, because the masculinity it's so complex. So I reached out to African Americans, Native Americans. We have some from India. We have two Latinos who are here, one gay man, is also part of the show. And then we have generations of this. And I go, wow, we really need to have the generations, because you can't just have a bunch of young men talking about it, a bunch of older men talking about it, but there's this, and it adds the complexity of generation. So then I said, okay, fine, can I get the artist? And it was hard. And then out of luck, sheer luck, and I'm not, I ran into Aaron, who pulled a couple in. I ran into this guy who was walking by, going to drop his artwork off. I just reached out to him. Fascinating young man. And he was talking about, he's from Guatemala. And now he's talking about the cultural appropriation of his country and how that affects his view of masculinity by the oppressors that came in that colonized his country. And I thought, wow, this is very complex. This idea. So one led to another, and then we now have the body of artists coming together. We decided to have a barbecue, and the men started gelling and started telling stories, and it was just very rich. So we kind of on something now, and I took a chance on a lot of the artists, as well as we were starting to mentor some of the younger artists. So there was a mentorship that developed. Aaron was mentoring. I mentored this gentleman here, who really wasn't going to get into the show because he didn't have time, and I encouraged him, and now he's in. So it was just a lot of luck.
You meant Tyler?
Pardon me?
You mentioned Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Aaron was working back there.
Right. And of course,
did you do Blackjack Oaks?
No, he was mentored by
Aaron. Got it. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
And then all this is happening under the tutelage of Tony, because I actually did that piece there in the middle, and that one spawned the idea of maybe I should reach out to other men. And Tony said, I would be willing to do a show if you bring the artists. So he is the bigger piece of this thing, because it's great that I got all these artists, but what are you going to do with the artwork? So it was a collaboration. He trusted me, I trusted him, and we trusted a lot of these artists. This is the biggest piece Brandon's ever done. Most of the have worked in this meeting before. Mm-hmm. So this collaboration kind of fed this kind of body of artists that felt comfortable meeting. So we had I think 4 or 5 barbecues. People would come together, and they all started talking about their stories and ideas and how this was going to go. And I said, just err on your story. Don't worry about the work. Don't worry about it. Don't be safe. You're going to be safe. I don't want it. We've gone too far to be safe. Right? So, anyway, so this piece is about unbecoming. What I found, my experiences with younger men, it's a metaphor of all these question marks around here are really forcing or formulating and pulling this man apart, because young men are kind of have their own set of challenges when it comes to masculinity. Part of it is that they're lost on what a man means. Masculinity is a very lost thing. I think women do a way better job about talking the power of a woman, and if they have daughters, listen, you can do anything you want. Men don't have these conversations, and I'm speaking in generalities, just on anecdotal. But what I'm noticing is how there's a monetization of young men. And you can join this group and you can be a man. Join this group, you can be a man. The Tate brothers, or you follow me and you pay money for this, and then you can be a man. So but they're like fleecing these young men.
I'm sorry, you said a monetization of masculinity, which is a great concept to think about
Yeah,
where we are as a
I
society.
think so. Particularly
Yeah.
the younger generations, they're having a harder time with their own issues. They, if you do the numbers on them, it's sad. I mean, most suicides are men. So, and there's into that most men right now are struggling with depression more than the others. And the ills are there. The answers are not. And what I said to all the others is, I don't want answers. I want the audience to leave with more questions and more awareness of how complex it is, not for an answer. So none of these artists are in any way, shape, or form reflecting the same ideas. They're very, very different. My piece is about what I think is happening with young men, that they're looking for a guru. They're looking for this one to say, this is what it means to be a man, and for $9.99,
You can join our club.
you can join our club. So, and that's my take. This piece here is going to be very different. And yeah, this one is about a lot of men. I talked about the shark. So this piece here deals with the idea that a man's emasculated because he's not connected to, let's say, his feminine side. So you can be all over all you want, but the chakras of where's your voice, where's your heart, they're missing from this one here. And this is sort of a metaphor of that's missing. And it's in the embodiment of all of this. You can't be a full man without having the ability to feel express your thoughts and your feelings and your struggles without having an empathy to your existence and a power. I know the power of being vulnerable. It's stronger, I think, to be vulnerable than it is to be bearing yourself under a lot of muscles or bearing yourself under bravado or whatever it is, but to be vulnerable and feeling like I'm not that perfect and sort of like admit that. There's a reason why men are struggling, and a lot of reasons. And one, I think they just feel uncomfortable about anybody knowing how they really feel. It feels strange. If I go to a man and say, hey, let's get together next week. Okay, great. What are we going to do? We're just going to talk. Talk about what? Like, what's the purpose? And they don't have that. They want to keep everything in. And I think this is so to me, this piece represents, like, if you don't address, tackle, develop your ability to express yourself and have empathy and vulnerability, I don't think you're as strong as a man as you, or complete as a man as you can be. And that's the idea that's emasculated.